My name's Tom Topolsky. I've been swimming for over 50 years, coaching since the early 70s, and I wanted to develop a DVD to help parents and coaches, specifically 8 and unders, but young swimmers, how to make them the best they can be. The first segment of the video, you're going to see questions and answers that parents have and coaches have. Important questions that need to be answered. The second segment will deal with training techniques and strategies that go through all the competitive strokes. It goes through starts and turns and things that are important for coaches. And the third section has to do with me being on the deck, showing you what a typical practice looks like. And I'll tell you what, I'll give you some tips while I'm on deck. If your practices are better than that, fantastic. If they're not, you're going to want to take something from that video and probably use it in your program. I hope you enjoy it because I developed it because I'm concerned about the progress of swimmers and making sure everybody excels. Good luck. Forgot. I give camps. I mentor coaches, mentor programs to be the best they can be. So I have one-day clinics, camps, and 2-week clinics. I've traveled all around the country trying to help coaches and programs excel. And that's what I do. And I hope this video gives you exactly what you want. Thank you. Bye now. Attitude's everything. Good luck.
Well, let's start. What is the first thing you'd like parents to know?
The first thing I want parents to know is that passion doesn't always come naturally. You know, if the child is passionate, you're going to have to make a commitment as a parent to get them there on time, to show them how important it is to be on time and to work hard. And that's probably the most important thing. Get them there on time, feed the passion, and understand if they're not always up 100% trying to get to practice, that's normal. And understand that they're not always going to catch on to things all the time. But when they do, it's because you're bringing there often. When they have 3 practices a week, make every single practice. Be there on time, pick them up, and do your job as a parent.
Well, Coach, it sounds like a serious commitment, is it?
You know, it can be a very serious commitment. And if a parent realizes that your swimmer loves the sport, then get them there as often as they can. They're not going to have to be a jack of all trades because you want your child to be able to experience a lot of different things, but you have to understand if they really love the sport, why not take advantage of that moment? It could be the one thing that they're going to be so super at that they're going to be, you know, excited about for the rest of their lives. And it's a lifetime sport, number one, lifetime activity. It's going to be great, but understand that if you see them enjoy it, take it to another level. They're going to have to increase yardage as they get older when they get into another group. 8 and unders need technique, technique, technique. Okay, so understand the commitment is about understanding the importance of technical prowess in the sport. Don't worry about the yardage.
Well, what if their technique isn't improving, then what?
The learning curve for every child is going to be different. Patience is what's important. If the child feels frustrated because they come home or you're badgering them about why they're not improving, it could be a killer to them. You know, you need to understand that coaches get Volkswagens and sometimes Ferraris. The great thing about swimming is we, the good coaches, can take that Volkswagen and turn it into Ferrari. They don't always start out that way. The learning curve, again, is different for everybody. And I see sometimes parents get frustrated because they're not learning, and that really can draw to the swimmer when the swimmer sees the parent get frustrated. So try to avoid that at all costs. Remember, they're having fun, they're going to learn, they're going to get it. It may not even be in the first year, maybe 2 years. Are you going to be patient as a parent? If you're not patient, I'll tell you what, you can really squelch an opportunity for a child to feel good about themselves all the time. Make them feel good about themselves. don't get on them about improving. That's up to the coach and swimmer, okay? You'll be glad you did. Patience is a virtue.
So what are other things you want to tell parents?
Well, I know this may sound gruff, but sometimes I don't even want parents on the deck. In fact, I'll tell you what, they shouldn't be on the deck. And I go so far as sometimes they're so distracting to my coaching that I don't want them in the stands.
What, you mean just drop them off at practice and then leave?
In some cases, that is a good idea. I don't want to discourage parents from coming, of course, but I've got to tell you, there are parents where communication between the swimmer and the parent up in the stands gets so distracting that they are not only coaching the child, they're disciplining them. And the discipline belongs with the coach. If the coach cannot discipline the children correctly, well, maybe you have to talk to them after practice. In fact, that's probably a good thing to say. If you need something to say to the coach, talk to him way after practice is done. If your child is watching you, is worried about getting disciplined because they're not paying attention, we can't develop a relationship. I need to develop the relationship. And remember, the learning curve. Do we forget about that? Some kids are distracted easily, and a good coach understands that. I'm not going to get upset. Now, I do get upset about actions in the pool that are inappropriate, but that's another topic. Here is a parent who's distracting swimmers, and swimmers who are being distracted by parents. We're going to stop that, and sometimes the coach is going to get right down to the nitty-gritty and say, hey, Mom, Dad, you need to not be up in the stands. And I know that sounds terrible, but for the good of the swimmer, you may have to do that.
Okay, but usually, though, you're not telling them stay away from the pool or discouraging them from watching practice.
Yeah, I want parents to be up there. It's fun. Take pictures. Take pictures. That's your job. Take pictures, a video collage of how they started and where they finished. What a great thing to do for every parent. If you want to do something really positive, take pictures of the team, the kids with other kids, and seeing how they started and how they finished. And at the end, you have popcorn and candy, and that's probably not candy, but anyway, have fun at home watching them.
Okay, Coach, what things should parents be concerned about when it comes to their swimmer?
I think there are a few things they need to be concerned about. Inappropriate behavior. When another swimmer is bothering other swimmers and they're unable to practice, that's something that is a concern. Inappropriate language, touching, things that don't go well in school, don't go well in the pool. It's a teaching environment, and we want to, as coaches, maintain that environment. So coaches will often take a swimmer that's disruptive and maybe even take them outside of practice and have them sit down, maybe a timeout. There are different things that coaches do. Understand what your coach does. If you agree or disagree, that's something that you bring up after practice. But those are the things you need to be concerned about. And usually, a strategy, when it gets really disruptive, has to be taken with the parent and developed so it becomes an effective means of stopping that kind of behavior. So that kind of strategy is going to be handled with a coach and a swimmer, and they'll handle it. We should be able to nip it in the bud. So I think that's something that you should be concerned about, and it shouldn't happen too often.
Okay, Coach, here's a tough one. What do you tell a parent who's unhappy with the coaching or has issues with the effectiveness of the swimming program as a whole?
Wow, that is a tough one, and I've got to tell you, the parents should have probably done some homework before they got into a program. You need to know and watch the coaching staff and know what you're going into before you start, because that will help you. I've heard of Olympic world record holders, parents destroying a program, getting a coach fired. It's sad. And you need to understand that there should be probably a commandment in parenting and coaching where it says, if you have nothing good to say, just don't say anything at all. That's important.
Okay, that sounds pretty intense, but what should a parent do then?
That is a great question, because if you really want to change the program, there's constructive ways to do it. How about sending your coaches to a clinic? The American Swim Coaches Association has one. The National Interscholastic Coaches Association. Area swimming programs have area clinics that will help coaches, young coaches, inexperienced coaches, maybe a coach who's just setting their weights, learn new things, but it costs money. Now, coaches don't get paid a lot. Send one. Get a fundraiser and send them to a clinic. How about this? Here's another one. How about buying or paying for a coach, a great coach, to come down for a weekend, a week, 2 weeks, whatever you can afford, and mentor your coach and your program? How about buying them some video tapes, some books, things that help them develop their talents as a coach? But bad-mouthing a coach, jumping from program to program because you're not satisfied is your fault. It's your fault. You didn't start in the right direction to begin with. We're talking about 8 and under, so you're taking them to a program hopefully you can be confident in. If it's the only program in town, then do those things that I talked about. Send your coach somewhere. Send them another coach to mentor. That's awesome. There are magazine periodicals. How about paying for their subscription to a professional magazine or a professional association? There are a lot of things that you can do. Here's one. How about rewarding them when their swimmers move from one level to another? Monetarily. I'm telling you, money doesn't pay for everything. Hey, but it'll help, won't it? I mean, people are motivated by different things, but coaches have to live. And I'll tell you, if you have a good coach or a bad coach, all of them can move up a level by some of these things I talked about.
Well, Coach T, you've been pretty emphatic about how parents should avoid getting too involved in their child's sport. Now, we all know you're passionate about this point, so please tell our parents more. Are you talking about parents who really act like coaches?
Yes, I am. And I'll tell you what, I'm just giving you an experience that I've had myself. I've been coaching 30, 40 years. My point is, I was up in the stands. My sons were in a program. I watched the coach give them information that was incorrect. It was not right. I bit my tongue, the cheek. I didn't say a word. I didn't go home and tell them that their coach was wrong. You can't do that. You can't dismantle, even if you think you know or you really know more than the coach, to go at home with your kids and dismantle what the coach was trying to develop. If you're that adamant about it, apply for the job as coach and start coaching. You know, you have to stay out of it, butt out. And I know that's so hard for parents. They want to do what's best for their child. Who can blame you? You can't blame them, but I got to tell you something. If the coach isn't the person that's going to be talking to the swimmers about things, you're going to be coaching. You're not parenting anymore. You're not the parent. Stop coaching your child. Now, I want you to make sure that when you have something to say to the coach, that when you're not talking to him, you're not talking about him. At home, say things positive about the coach, okay? If you really want to coach your child, there are few people that are successful at it. So let me understand. You're going to be the parent that's going to be hopping from program to program because you're not satisfied with the coach, and you're never going to be satisfied. Why? Because you think you know more. Start coaching. Please, we need more coaches. Okay? Stop coaching your child. Here's something that you can pay attention to. When they ask you about something like their starts and turns, because they may even ask you about, they want your opinion, you say, go ask your coach. Say it. Go ask your coach. It's going to be hard because you think you know more, so you're going to I think you should be taking that arm stroke here and putting your hand. No. Go ask your coach. That's always your response, because there are children out there that want answers right away. And sometimes they're just going to have to be patient. Go ask your coach. Thank you. Go ask your coach.
Okay, well, now let's get into the nitty-gritty. What do you want to tell the 8 and under coach?
When you start coaching, if you don't start with passion, I don't know why you're doing it. You need passion. So let's understand. I guess this is probably goes without saying. The reason you're watching it is because you are passionate about your sport. You want to do the best you can. But it's your passion being transformed into an excitement kind of passion for the swimmer. So it's not about just having fun. Fun in games isn't what this is about. It's about trying to make hard work fun, trying to give goals to students and swimmers that are going to make them passionate about what they do.
Well, that all sounds great, Coach T, but how does a coach do that?
Instilling passion in your swimmers, I think, revolves around the coach having fun. If you're not having fun, I don't see why you're doing it. You know, when you have swimmers that are so important to you, you want them to do the best they can. You've got to be excited. You have to have fun. If you're not having fun, the swimmers aren't going to have fun. Okay, so if you're not enjoying it, find out why. Is it discipline, some other reasons? But I want you to cure that before you get out on the deck. Have fun. You have an ability to transform a swimmer who probably maybe couldn't swim a lap. Maybe he was not even drown-proofed, but turned into something because you were excited about him, had great, sincere praise about. Dale Carnegie said it. You know, be lavish in your praise and be sincere about it. Pile it on, but sincerely. And I'll tell you what, when you do that to swimmers, they're going to excel. You're going to stop practices to watch one swimmer because you found something that one swimmer may not have done, had done before, but they did it now in practice. You stopped it, had everybody out, and had them watch. What kind of power is that? It builds them up all the time. It's amazing the kind of power you have as a coach to take children that may not have that self-esteem and take that child into a blossoming athlete that is just going to excel in other things too. It's not just about swimming, it's about life. That's the power you have as a coach. Use it wisely. And if you're not having fun, I think you should quit. You shouldn't be out there, honest.
All of this sounds good, Coach T, but what are some practical tools that a coach can use to become a better coach?
They need to be able to take information that's current, comprehensive, contemporary, and be able to apply it to their coaching techniques. And you can't do that unless you read the current periodicals, watch underwater videos of the best swimmers in the world. And remember, even Michael Phelps has flaws. So doing everything like Michael Phelps isn't necessarily perfect. But if you know the physiology, you know the proper fluid mechanics, and the technique that works, you're going to be able to apply it to your swimmers. A lot of coaches, like I said, you know, you coach like you were coached, and that is necessarily a good or bad thing, depends who your coach was. But most of the time, a coach, even the best coach in the world, has some things that may not be perfect. And that's what you want to do. You want to teach kids, the swimmers, techniques that are going to help them excel. So learn, do your studies. You've got to study. You want to be the best in your field. Do you feel comfortable enough to write an article about swimming, about fluid mechanics, about a catch? You need to get that comfortable to be able to debate a point, your position on why you're teaching something. Do you know why you're teaching it? Is it because you watched it? You saw another coach do it? It's because the Olympic swimmer did it? Because an Olympic coach did it? That can't be good enough for you. Even at an 8 and under level, you've got to be training these kids like Olympians. Can you do that? Can you teach them, train them like an Olympian?
Okay, Coach, let's get this straight. Are you really saying that a coach of 8 and unders should really be training his or her kids like Olympians?
You know, I do think, and I'm not talking about yardage. We're not swimming the yardage of, in fact, the yardage can kill swimmers. We're talking about technique. Every coach should be training the swimmer as a potential Olympic athlete. You don't know who's in that body, in that soul of the swimmer. You don't know who's going to be the best swimmer. The one that turns out to be the best at the beginning may not be the best at the end. So treat everyone with expectations that are high. Who wants a coach that treats everybody like, oh, they're never going to be that good, because you don't know. And if you get to the point where you can start telling yourself that you know who's going to be the best athlete, I got to tell you, I want to talk to you, because I'd like to know, you come around and talk to my swimmers, which ones are going to be the best, because I treat everyone like they're going to be the best. They may not even do a flip turn after a year, but my point is they might. And I don't know when they're going to blossom. And you should treat every swimmer like they're going to be up there, not down in the middle. Don't dumb down to them. You know, the learning curve, remember about that? You don't have to dumb down them. They'll get it eventually. You may have to say it different ways, but hey, everybody is going to respond differently. Remember, they're going to have audio learners, visual learners, a demonstration. You got to watch, try all those things until something clicks. And never give up. You can't give up. You know, motivating swimmers can revolve around a lot of things. The most important thing is times. You live and breathe swimming by practice times, not just times in a meet. If your times in practice go down, that gives you some kind of data to find out how effectively you're coaching children, your swimmers. So we time starts, we time turns, we time the amount they can kick, how fast they can kick it, and when their times start going down, we reward them. Practice times are critical. You know, it's not just about the meet times. If their times in practice go down, it's going to be inevitable that their swimming times are going to go down. So we reward them with a hearty handshake, a pat on the back, a nice comment. We give these little Mike and Ike's, little gumdrops, things that they can be rest assured that it's not going unnoticed. So that's really important. You know, there are a lot of other things you can do to motivate kids. How about bringing an Olympic swimmer to your pool? They give clinics. It's expensive, but I gotta tell you something. How cool is it when you see your child wear 3 Olympic gold medals hanging around his chest from an Olympian and then talking it for the rest of their lives? It's a memory, but it's an exciting thing, a motivating thing. There's a lot of things you can do.
Okay, Coach, you've given us a lot to think about. Let's wrap it up, huh?
Yeah, you know, I want to end just telling coaches, parents, and swimmers, it's not just about swimming. It's an opportunity to take swimmers and build friendships, which is huge. Have some sleepovers, build some camaraderie, and you'll be surprised, just those little things could develop a whole huge swim team to get together. Coaches, you have opportunities to talk about nutrition, sportsmanship. Take this opportunity that you have in 8 and under swimming to be a developmental coach on all levels, and you're going to be happy. Swimming can be awesome. It's a lifelong experience that I think it's going to be great for everybody. Good luck.